I wanted to start off with today is, I've just, as you know, we've started the 3 S's we've developed during the lockdown of COVID, and that was number one, strategic marketing. Secondly, educators and students, where we're constantly learning new things given the times we've gone through. And the third thing is the safety of showing homes, which I believe for every business, safety is a huge concern of our clients out there, and of course, personally ourselves. Anyway, I was happy to actually subscribe to a new video series on leadership this week, and I was listening to one of their 10-minute videos they sent to me on a daily basis, and it was from Tom Peters that many of us have heard of, and he wrote the book A Passion for Excellency. And what he was saying in life, everything takes time that's important, and really only plan about 50% of your day. Leave the other 50% for daydreaming and thinking of the things that you really want, because oftentimes we rush through the day and we really don't think about our actions or where they're taking us. And as he says, take the time to think things through, which is really important. I must admit, I do know a friend many years ago, and I remember when we were having our meetings, he would say, oh, well, I make sure I daydream every day. That's my biggest goal every day. So don't forget to take that time to daydream your plans. Another thing he brings up is how important relationships are. And that's where, taking the time to get to know people. Because when you have that great idea or that great thought and you have that great relationship with somebody, you can bounce it off them. And always, once you have stepping stones to anything you do in life. And, when you've reached a certain point, remember to celebrate what you want more of. And that was a quote he had in his book, as we take the time to recognize what's going on and celebrate what you want more of. So that's my little inspiration piece of today's talk. And now we'll move on about the market. Basically, we have, again, a subscription to RES Media. It's a real estate magazine, and it's online now, where we really get up-to-date information, what's going on across the US. And what they're saying basically is there's an inventory shortage of second homes everywhere right now. What they're finding, especially on the East Coast right now, people, of course, aren't going to be traveling internationally. And a lot of families, they are looking at buying, in places on coastal towns or even renting it at very exorbitant prices. And, I do have a friend who owns a home on the East Coast, and I think it was back in April, and he started to get inquiries, I believe, in March, and he had a contract for a rental for his house drawn up at the end of April, which usually they wouldn't come till June. So there was people looking for rentals and buying, but the market right now in coastal towns and East Coast for secondary luxury homes is really going well. The NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, mentioned between 2013 and 2018, the median price of vacation homes due to the build of wealth build-up went up about 36%. Compared to 31% for existing home sales. So I believe once we get out of the lockdown of COVID, we're going to see a lot of great activity in real estate. And, let's not forget, a lot of wealth is actually accumulated when times like this happen. I just saw the other day, Home Depot stock went up 15%. And then Zoom that we're all using right now, there was 10 million users before, say, the middle of March, and now there's over 200 million users. So that was a good stock to buy. But, well, I'm sure there's more stock or investments out there if we keep our eyes and ears open right now. The tourism and, of course, real estate has, been very affected by the restrictions. We're hoping with the new plan they call Travel with Aloha initiative that we will see tourism come back into the islands and people be able to vacation here. There's been some staggering statistics for overall the market, just not the luxury market. I was saying that some parts of Hawaii on other islands are looking at a 65% decrease in sales for the past 60 to 80 days compared to 2019. So that's very staggering. Now, the good news is the luxury market, however, has only seen about a 3% decrease of prices of the same month last year. And the number of closed sales of single families have remained at 24, the same as April. So single family homes for luxury homes is still relatively strong. This is an interesting statistic, but being in the business and being very active, I see this. There's less price reductions in the first part of 2020 than there was in 2019. And I go back and I remember in 2019, a year ago, there was definitely a change in the market where we had to adjust some of our listing prices from 3 to 12%. But that adjustment really took us into 2020's market. So we did see less price reductions at the beginning of this year. The inventory of all properties in all price ranges remain low. We keep hearing that all over the news, and I'm sure you hear it on other editorials on real estate. But this coupled with lower rates, we do really see buyers are eager to buy right now. I did speak to a lender over the week, and he was mentioning that refis are at all-time high, but purchases are still a little low. I still feel the purchases are low given there's no inventory, and that's the biggest item I see in the luxury market right now. And today we talk about the luxury market being 1.5 million and over. May single family home prices increased by 14% from against last year, and attached homes declined by, meaning condos, by 25%. Inventory and sales remain comparable to 2019, although condo sales fell over 65%. So the condo market's a little tough right now. And just this week, I had an inquiry to list a property in a luxury building, and if they decide to sell, they're looking at quite a loss, and they bought their unit probably about 4 or 5 years ago. So they may just decide to rent with our rental department. So we try to provide options, when it's not the right time for somebody to sell right now. Now I'm going to share a screen and talk about, I know we've talked about some of the highest sales that have happened each month, and I want to take those sales and look at the, let me do this. Look at the area, what's been going on. So here's the May statistics, the highest sale being $18 million. And of course, that sale occurred with Kailua oceanfront. And just to give you an idea of how tight that market is, we don't really have many sales of that level here on Oahu. This is one of 8 transactions for the past 20 years. I mean, that's how rare these happen on Oahu. So I think we'll see more of those, given how beautiful our islands are, and the appreciation of not having, having space around you, which is really important. Now, what I wanted to do is just give you an idea of, how many sales occurred from January to May 2020 on Kailua oceanfront compared to 2019. There was 2 sales in 2019 on the ocean in Kailua, 2019, and 4 sales in 2020. So, really, people are still buying out there, even given the COVID condition. A lot of those 4 sales, of course, I would say at least 60% did occur before the lockdown occurred. But once it's lifted, I believe we'll start seeing that market really be very, very active. I'll just take you down to... So this was the $18 million house I spoke of. There's some pictures. This is a Kahala home that's sold in Kahala, and that was the highest sale for May. And to give you an idea of the Kahala market for May 2019 and May 2020, we had 10 sales in 2020. Again, quite a few of those were pre-COVID lockdown, but a few did occur while we were in lockdown. and then 14 sales were in 2019. So not a huge difference. Again, once we get the lockdown removed, I believe we'll see that market starting to make up a big difference. Hokua, a luxury condominium in Kaka'ako. Again, they had three of the highest sales here this year, and the other four, there was only 4 sales in 2019. So basically, there was only one sale less in this building in 2020 compared to 2019. So as I mentioned previously in my comments at the start, there's a very slight change in the market for luxury properties right now. And I also will go back and show you this slide. Very interesting, where do our buyers come from for most of our properties? So the top 3 international buyers are definitely Japan, Canada, and Korea. But as you see, if you go down top states by number of sales, Hawaii still, we've got a very strong local market, and then California and Washington. You'll get a lot of your luxury buyers coming from California, Texas, and also Chicago. I found that lately. But it's even on the East Coast, we're starting to see a few luxury buyers come from New York, etc. So I think, as we come out of the lockdown, there should be positive signs for our market. And, it's one of these things is don't wait. People do build wealth through these historical times. Overall, if you look over the past 20 or 30 years, real estate has an appreciation of a little under 5%. And I very strongly believe always buy smart, and you'll have, good equity in your property. Let me go to the pictures. Marianne's also given us pictures today. Thank you, Marianne. Again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And just wanted to give you some ideas for a Father's Day, since, there's definitely restrictions unlocked now, and we can go off and have some fun. So again, maybe you want to take your father or slash husband or your husband parasailing. These are beautiful photos Marianne's put together for us. And it's not. And then, of course, for those very athletic fathers out there, enjoy your morning kite surfing. The wind's been good lately, so I'm sure you'll enjoy a good kite surf. And, of course, on the South Shore, the surf has been really wonderful. So enjoy a surfing morning with your boys or girls who surf with your dad. Get out there and have a good surf. And outrigger paddling, maybe there's a group of dads that want to get out there and paddle together for the morning to start the day. I know that's a favorite for many of our paddling friends. And again, just a lovely stroll on the beach and enjoying the sunset. And happy Father's Day, and have a wonderful family weekend.